Delighted to welcome back on the show. Always a pleasure to have this man on the show. Coached like a Chris Cyborg, Michael Bisping, to name but a few. Plenty more. TJ Dillashaw he's working with these days. Rafael Dos Anjos, the works. Jason Parillo. Jason, how are you, my friend? Great to have you back on the show. How are things?
How you doing, buddy? Everything's good.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good, man. I can't complain. Can't complain too much.
How's the weather in Ireland? Is it nice out there?
It's so. Yeah, a bit of sun. We're not getting as much rain as we normally do in September, but you can feel the cold, dark nights coming day by day. Wait till the clocks go back and it's dark at 7 in the morning and it's dark at 3 in the afternoon. Not the best place in the world to be, but I'm sure you're living it up there. I'm sure you're living it up there.
Dark that early, 3.
Yeah, oh man, 4 o'clock, pitch black dark.
No way.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah, it is heavy. I'm sure you're loving it out there in California.
Oh God, it's I feel almost bad. I shouldn't even ask. Actually, when you live where I live, you probably shouldn't even ask how the weather is other places. You're just being a dick, right?
You are.
How's your weather over there? Mine's perfect. I don't know. How's yours?
Exactly. Cheers for that. Jason, anyway, listen, how are you, brother? Obviously, a lot going on with you at the moment. Preparing for Michael Bisping. Chris is looking to get a fight booked up. You've already in the gym, which is well, coming off that really impressive performance and win a few weeks ago. First of all, I want to ask you, right, with all the new additions, you're working with TJ a little bit as well.
A little bit. TJ's been in the gym periodically, but I'm not really haven't been working with him too much. Yeah. But RDA quite a bit. Go ahead. Sorry.
What's that like? You know, you've new people coming down quite a lot. Do you have to get to a point where you have to turn down people? Because I know you're working with obviously Caelan Curran as well, and you know BJ Penn and all those guys. Do you have to turn away people?
I never heard of Caelan Curran. Who's that? Oh, she's sitting right here. I'm looking at her.
That won't go down too well.
Yeah, right. No, but yeah, I mean, well, of course. You know what's funny is, I mean, it's just energy now, isn't it? You know, and sometimes these bigger fights, I mean, outside the gym I'm working. You know, when I'm at home, I'm really kind of, I put a lot of energy into it, a lot of thought into it, and you know, I'm constantly contacting, talking to these guys, especially these big ones. You know, Mike's got the biggest fight of his career. You know, they're always the next fight of your life is always the biggest fight of your career. But you know, this one is probably one of the biggest cards of the year. It's Madison Square Garden, New York City. So yeah, it occupies a lot of my energy. So I'm pretty spotty with where I put my other energy into, because I don't like to go half-ass. You know, I don't like to work with somebody and just give them a little piece of myself. You know, that's not what they're working with me for. You know, they're trying to get the best out of themselves, and I got to be 100% towards them. So my energy, isn't always, you know, especially the older I get. You know, I was thinking about it earlier. I mean, when I was younger, I trained 15 people in a day, you know, on the mitts. You know, I mean, I'd be physically training guys up to 15 people a day. But now, I mean, the energy to get, you know, just a handful it takes a lot out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, just as far as it takes it out of me as far as me not being able to give them as much as I should be, if that makes sense.
Do you still feel the hunger? You know, obviously keeping it smaller, not having as many people in there. Does it make you more hungry? Maybe, you know, as the likes of, you say, UFC 217 coming up now in November. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm hungry for the fighter that I'm working with to win whatever fight, whatever it's a UFC at Madison Square Garden or the OC Fairgrounds down here. You know, that's what I'm talking about, and that's what I mean by my energy. If I'm going to put my energy into somebody, I want to make sure that it's important to me as well. You know, no matter what level it's on, you know, I develop a relationship with these fighters, and I care about them. So I want to give them 100% of myself, and my hunger always stays with that. You know, every time I see a fighter, every time I work with a fighter, you know, it reminds me of myself. You know, I remember back when I fought, and I know how important it is. I mean, fighting's the most important thing. When you're a fighter, it's all you think about. You know, and I believe some of these coaches actually disrespect the game by trying to throw a bunch of shit to the wall to see what sticks, you know, and they're just going to take on every project that's in front of them. You know, I don't know if they're being fair to every guy that's in front of them. But, you know, for the most part, my hunger never goes away as far as soon as I see the energy in front of me and how bad they want it and how important it is, it's like being an AA sponsor. You know what I mean? These alcoholics, you know, they got 20 years of sobriety, and, you know, what keeps them sober? They see this this young fucked up guy walking in the fucking meeting, and they can't figure it out, and it reminds them of themselves when they were that age and when they were going through this situation and when they were, you know, wanting something else for themselves or wanting to, you know, to be the best fighter they want to be, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully I answer that question pretty clearly as far as hunger is concerned. Because, you know, you can't, if you're not going to be hungry as a coach, you're really, you know, you got to know what you're doing too. You got to have the experience, but you know, might as well get the fuck out because you're dealing with people's lives.
Yeah,
these people are fighting, they're getting the fire line, and they're risking some serious injuries in the future. You know, so you want to make sure that you know what you're doing and you're willing to put the proper energy into people.
Definitely. You mentioned hunger there, and it's a word, you know, we often see, you know, fighters, if they mention the word retirement. Do you worry the fact Michael has maybe mentioned retirement going into this fight? The fact maybe he's doubting himself? Does that cross your mind a little bit? No?
Well, it's always going to cross your mind a little bit if I didn't know him. You
Yeah.
know, and I know him and I've had conversations. I mean, how do you not talk about, you know, you're thinking about, people in their 20s are thinking about retiring. You
Yeah,
know,
it's true.
the fight game's no fucking joke. You know, it's no joke. You know, Mike still, every fight today and every fighter I know sits there in that locker room and asks themselves, what the fuck am I doing here? Every fucking one of them.
Yeah.
I promise you that. You know, so, you know, there's some crazy guys out there. You go, guess what? They're the one with the low sense of intelligence, and they're the ones that can't make it to the fucking top too, by the way. I promise you that. You know, Michael, you know, Mike, because he's an intelligent man, has been, you know, probably questioning whether he wants to continue fighting for a lot longer than just saying it. You know what I mean? Just because he's a smart, but he knows that also the hunger comes back to him, the desire comes back to him, the passion comes back to him, and he's 100% in every fucking time. He really is. When I see him in the gym, he reminds me no different than how he was passionate and hungry for it, you know, 7-8 years when I started working with him. You know, so Mike's a special guy. He's a special human being. I don't worry that he doesn't want to win this fight. I don't worry that he's not going to put 100% himself into this fight, and that he's going to, you know, he's going to go out this guy and try to take him out of there. I mean, he is, and I say it to Mike all the time, and it's ironic, and we're talking about this because I talked to him about it yesterday, matter of fact. I go, it's funny that we even have a retirement conversation because you are actually developing even more. He's better than I've ever seen him right now. In the gym, he just, the control over his arsenal, the control over his movement is just at another level that it's ever been for him. You know, so it's kind of, you know, you know, even if he performs the way that I feel he should in this fight, for him, it's going to be even hard to think about retiring on a fight because he knows that he's at a level that he hasn't been to yet, and he's displayed that on the highest level in the highest promotion in a high magnitude fight.
What's that conversation entail, if you mind me asking? What did Michael say? Did he bring up the R word again, or did you have that conversation with him?
No. I was making a joke about somebody was interviewing me, and they're like, "Yeah, we heard today that Michael said he was talking about retire. When have you heard about that?" I go, "I just heard about it right now." And then we start laughing, you know. So that was basically the conversation that sparked it between me and Mike, and we joked about it. But you know, of course, I mean, Mike's did and the way I answer that question and the way I can answer with you is the same way. Is, you know, Mike wrote his book, you know, and he finished it exactly the way everybody wants to finish it, you know. So he has his decision. He's a world champion. He's fought all over the world, all top contenders, just major high profile fights. He can make whatever decision he would like to make. And, you know, he does definitely got to, you know, he has a support for his family. Any family, you know, knows that, you know, any family that cares about their family member, you know, when it comes around time, they're going to be encouraging them, you know, stop as well. And he owes that to his family because they've stood by his side all these years, you know, so it's not really an in-depth conversation that me and him don't sit there and focus on that. We don't think about it. Me and him are guys that have been doing this a long time, and when it's time to do business, we're here to do business. So we're not thinking about, oh, what if I do this? Mike's a natural. Mike's got something in him that, you know, you're born with. You know, he's got a grit to him that isn't going to make him shy away from a fight because he's thinking about not doing this one day. He's a realist. He realizes one day he's not going to be doing this. We all realize one day we're not going to be doing this. You know, you got to be able to come to terms with it. And Mike's the type of guy that's taken lashings and been given praises. So, you know, emotionally, he's handled everything he needs to handle. So, as far as making the choice of retirement. He's going to make a smart, educated, also at the same time decision on that. There's no doubt, and I trust whatever decision he wants to do.
Definitely. He's had a fantastic career, as we all know already. So, listen, it could be too many guys, don't go out at the top, in my opinion. So maybe it would be a great thing to go out if he was to get a victory over George St. Pierre. What a way to bow out of the sport. But listen to me, Luke Rockhold's comments, obviously, after his fight a couple of weeks ago against David Branch, he said, he basically picked on GSP. He said he doesn't think GSP should show up for this fight against Michael Bisping. What were your thoughts on his comments?
Well, GSP hasn't not showed up for a fight yet. No, either has he. I mean, that's why. It's actually in the back of my mind. It was a little thought, God, I hope this fight goes through. I hope everybody stays healthy. There's going to be this great fight, and I don't know. I mean, fuck. You got to think about everybody's thoughts as far as wanting to fight fucking Michael Bisping, dude. That's I wouldn't have energy to train anybody but Michael Bisping, because everybody and their fucking mother wants to fight Mike.
That's true. It's true.
Especially Luke Rockhold. So, anyway, I mean, he's doing his job. He's campaigning for a title. He's trying to get back what he wants, and the best guy to go after is the champ, and he can say whatever his opinion he wants about this fight. The fight's going to happen. If GSP pulls out, fuck. I don't see anybody pulling out this fight. I think it's an important fight for both of these guys, and they're both going to train smart and hard, and it's going to be an epic night, man. I'm excited for it.
Definitely, I think we all are. It's one of the fights of the year. Do you think the difference in this fight? A lot of people have looked at the physical prowess. Michael is obviously a very, very big middleweight. He's fought up at 205 earlier on in his career. GSP obviously moving up to middleweight from 170. Do you think that's going to be the major factor? People have talked about this here.
Yeah, well, of course. That's what everybody knows. GSP's, his defense of his titles, been a big part of dominating his fights with his takedown and holding the guy down and dominating him on top. And, so it's hard to think. We haven't seen any other really version of GSP. It's not like, he moves well on his feet. I mean, he's an athletic guy, and he's got some good strikes and whatnot. But we haven't seen that guy yet. I know he's working on kung fu and karate, and working on boxing. He's working on a lot of things, and a lot of that stuff's tough to bring to the table when you haven't really brought it to the table at a high level before in the past. I mean, he had brought it to a high level, but to where it's been, a big part of the success of the fight. I know he broke what's his name's face with his jab. What's the guy with the curly blonde hair? But yeah, I go back. I ask myself, okay, is he going to have more wrinkles in his game? I'm assuming yes. I'm assuming he's working on more things. But we're really preparing Mike for everywhere. Yeah. We're preparing him to compete with him in the wrestling game. I mean, we're not looking to wrestle him, but we're looking to be able to be offensively and defensively, wrestling. And most importantly, we do want to dictate it on our feet. We want the fight to stay there, because that's where Mike fights. I mean, when's the last time you see Mike go for a double leg, more than one fight, or if ever, So Mike's to think, does Mike want to keep this on his feet? That's a question that we all know the answer to, really, right? I mean,
definitely.
That's where we want to keep it, and I think when it comes to endurance and conditioning, which GSP has always been well known for it. I mean, and so are we. I think we're each even in. I think we got a better gas tank, to be totally honest. So. This fight's going to be interesting. It's fun. It's a real fun fight, and it does definitely take a lot of my energy right now. But, even just thinking about it, even just talking to you about it.
Let's move on. Let's move away from it. I don't want to wear you out yet. A couple of more bits for you before I let you go. I do appreciate it, Jason. Chris Cyborg. No obviously, Chris, she's away in Thailand, I believe, at the moment, training at Phuket top team. But obviously, she's with you for the majority of the time. I just want to get your thoughts on that. Obviously, there was comments made last week from Edmond Tarverdyan. He was trying to put Ronda's name up there. What do you think about that? Is he trying to maybe keep his name relevant and Ronda's name relevant? What were your thoughts on his comments that he wanted to see Ronda Rousey face Chris Cyborg? I think it would be a travesty if Ronda was to get in the cage with Chris Cyborg. How do you feel about that?
Oh, of course. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, I think to myself, what else is he going to say? I mean, there's really not too many. Like Ronda Rousey, obviously, is his star pupil, and that's somebody that's the reason behind calling Edmond. It's not. There's no reason outside. I mean, they're not calling for Travis Brown. They're not calling for these other guys he's worked with. They're called. The reason and the purpose behind the conversation is 100% about Ronda Rousey. I mean, right?
Yeah.
That's the big high profile name. Could it be probably avoided putting Chris? His name is up. Yes, he probably could have. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have to steer that direction. But at the same time, he can't say, "Oh, Ronda would get her fucking ass kicked by Chris." You know what I mean? He's obviously going to talk about his fighter like he believes that she can beat him, and good for him. That's how he should probably talk about his fighter, right?
Yeah.
But it just be probably smart. You could just kind of avoid it. You can also go in saying, there's a couple losses that we would like to avenge, and we know that there's some big names coming up. And if I was to see Ronda fight again, I would love to see her, come back at a good running start, maybe redeem herself with one of these losses, and see where we go from there. You know what I mean? But Chris's name is the biggest name, and she's the baddest. She is the baddest girl on the planet. So that's probably the name that's going to draw the most attention. If you're going to talk a little shit.
Do you think though? He said he didn't have a conversation with Ronda about it. Do you think he's looking after his own interests maybe more than Ronda's? How do you view that from a coach's point of view? In comparison to one of your fighters.
Yeah, I assume he's talking to her. I don't start talking about my fighters unless I talk to them, so I can just kind of assume the same way. I don't know if he's having a conversation with them. My guess they do. She's a competitor. She's a medalist in the Olympics. This is a girl that I knew when she left it's going to be hard not to try to do something again. The attention, the money, the identity that you have from this is tough to get away from. Yeah. It just is. And I know she has a lot of trust and a lot of loyalty in this guy. So to think that they're not having a conversation, I just don't know. Like, for me, my brain doesn't work that way. Because once I develop that bond and that relationship with a fighter, I continue to talk to him. I still talk to BJ Penn. I haven't worked with him in a long time. You know what I mean? Like, my guess is they still stay in contact. They still talk. In the type of girl, that woman that Ronda Rousey appears to be, is she's thinking, I want to do this again. I would guess. Maybe not. She's not. It would be surprising. And if she didn't have a couple, maybe they smoked a fatty or had a couple drinks and bullshitted about it, I'm sure, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know what the fuck they're doing. They could be fucking, drinking pints and fucking puffing on a fatty. Like, fuck Chris Cyborg. I'll fucking kick that bitch's ass. You know what I mean? And fucking Edmond's like, fuck yeah, you'll kick her ass. And then the next morning somebody calls him up and says, hey, man, Edmond, what do you think? He's like, fucking, I think she's going to kick Chris Cyborg's ass. No, but I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not. My guess is they're in contact. They do talk. Maybe these try, but he's got to know, and the world's got to know that's not going to. You having one conversation about a fighter isn't going to make you more relevant in this world again. This is a grind. My guess is Edmond's going to be right. He obviously loves what he does. He's going to be doing it for the rest of his life. And you'll probably see him again. For me, when my name starts getting dragged through the mud, I got to just stop and put my head down and keep doing what I've been doing. Just keep plugging away and trying to give what I was telling you earlier the best I can to these fighters. With my experience, the funny thing about being a coach, it's a roller coaster. You're only as good as your last fight and your last fighter. So you're going to be up and down all the time. It's just kind of that stuff that you got to really ignore. So my thought process is, he's got to be talking to her. That's why he's saying it. That's my thought process. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how to think like that. Let me see if I can get my name fucking plugging away. If I haven't talked to BJ Penn in fucking 5 years, I'm not going to be like, hey, you know what I want BJ to do? You know what I mean? I might what the fuck am I doing? I haven't talked to the motherfucker. You know what I mean? So
of course,
I can't think. When I think the way I think, it's hard for me to understand how people think the other way. If he's thinking the other way that way, but my guess is no. My guess is he's talking to her.
Definitely. Okay, interesting one here for you now, and obviously the talk is Chris against Holly Holm at UFC 219. That's the one I think Chris wants. But an interesting one for me. She tweeted out, I think, the night of Amanda Nunes defeated Valentina Shevchenko. Dana replied to my text message, something along those lines. Is there any interest in the potential Amanda Nunes fight from your side? Obviously, she's going to find it hard now at the moment. There's no real, straight up number one contender in the 135-pound division. Could that be a fight at 145 pounds that Amanda might step up and fight Chris at some point?
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. I'm interested in every fight that's out there at 145. Again, I say it time and time. I haven't seen the girl yet that has got me a little worried. Everybody's worried. Everybody's got a chance to win a fight. I'm not disrespecting the sport. I'm not disrespecting these women at all. I just got a tremendous amount of pride and a tremendous amount of confidence in my fighter in Chris Cyborg. And I know that girl's not out there right now that could fuck with her. So the more the merrier. I talk about it all the time. She's fought twice this year.
Yeah.
She's healthy. She stopped the girl. She hasn't gone past 2 rounds. She went 3 rounds. What she go 3 the last
rounds,
one? It's not like these are bloodbath fights and you only can do it once or twice a year. She can fight 3 or 4 times a year. The way she's on vacation, like you said earlier. She's on vacation. What she's doing on vacation? She's doing Muay Thai. Yeah. She's in Thailand training with Phuket Top Team. She's always like that. The thought of fighting is constantly in this girl's mind. So could she be more active? Yes. The problem with being more active is that those girls aren't out there.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not out there. We back in Invicta days, there was girls pulling out left and right. It was hard every time I heard the name of a fight, if a manager would come to me and say, "What do you think about this girl?" I would say, but I can already, this girl's going to pull out. You already know she doesn't. She doesn't have. It's a tough situation some of these girls are putting themselves in with Chris, and I'm not trying to detour them from taking the fight. The more the merrier. Amanda Nunes, that little Russian girl Shlemenko, or what's her name, and all of them. Holly Holmes, Ronda Rousey, whatever. Please. Just let's get a pool. Let's get a pool of them going, and just start getting them going. Just bring them down the line.
Yeah. You mentioned Holly there. I spoke with Mike Winklejohn last year. He said it's a fight he loved, Cyborg. Then the camp seemed to change their mind during the year. There's the talks, obviously, of UFC 219. Has there been any word that this fight's going to happen at UFC 219? Has there been any word from the UFC to you and Chris that Holly's interested in this fight?
I don't know. Of course. Who's not interested? That sounds like a great fight. It becomes a business thing now at this point too. That's a scary. I'm just sitting back and kind of focusing on what's in the gym right now. But that's a fight that I'm hoping happens. If I can have, they say, Jason, you know what? You pick what we do in this situation. You choose what's going to happen. The promoter said that to me. All the managers said that to me. All the coaches said that to me. If they gave me what I would love for her to be that for that fight to go down. I think Holly Holmes right now is probably the most high-profile fight that outside of Ronda Rousey or something like that. But, as far as the highest profile and the most known female fighters out there, and the girls that are close to Cyborg's division, we got, Ronda, Holly, and then from there, there's a lot of, there's a lot of thirds,
of course,
as far as the highest profile, and some of them are already out there. You got like Amisha Tate's a higher profile than I think even maybe an Amanda Nunes, but she's not been fighting. She hasn't fought in years. And then Amanda Nunes is getting there, I think, and obviously in Brazil there's a tremendous amount of following with her, and that could be an exciting fight for Brazil. And but for me, I have so much confidence in Chris. I'm not really. I'm not that I'm not worried about any of his opponents. I'm just excited for anyone that she gets the opportunity to fight.
Obviously, it's hard for Chris to get a match. Do you think possibly, as I said, I mentioned the back and forths from the Jackson Wink camp and Holly Holm. Do you think they've massive reserves about taking this fight?
Wait, say that again? Well, yeah, but Holly Holmes is a very experienced fighter. Holly Holmes it's got 30-something, 35 boxing, kickboxing fights where she's got a lot of MMA fights. She's got a tremendous amount of experience. Fuck yeah, she's got some concerns. She can't, if you look at other fights, you just, with all her experience, she can look at Chris and knows that there's something there. There's something that's scary there. She knows she's going to have to be, she's going to have every duck in line, man. She's going to have to, she did the right This isn't Ronda Rousey coming at her. It's Chris, right?
Yeah,
Ronda
exactly.
Rousey coming at you and Chris Cyborg coming at you. Believe you, me, as my boy Michael Bisping would say, believe you me, is a whole different motherfucking animal. I promise you that.
I agree with
whole
you.
Different animal.
I've said it for a long, long time. I agree. Listen, Jason, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I do appreciate the time. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you over in New York. I think we're going to be there to cover, and I'm not 100% sure yet. But always a pleasure, my friend. I do appreciate the time. Best of luck with your guys.
I better fucking see you out there, bro. I better see you out there. Step up. It's a big card.
Fingers crossed I'll be there. Appreciate it, my man.
All right, take it easy, man.
Cheers.
All right, bye-bye.